Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing fantastic. So, hilariously, we are continuing our reading of this book I got for $2. Yorkshire Wisdom. A lot of witty stuff from the people of England. British. I'm British. And it's so funny. Let's continue, okay? There's lots of stuff in here. Some will be more deeply philosophical. Think of Tyrion Lannister or something like that. Let's begin. Okay. Saying nothing at the right time can give you more control of a confrontational situation than anything else. Definitely something I had to learn. As I mentioned before, when Habib, the MMA fighter, was going up against Conor McGregor, that was a huge break in my consciousness because I was like, whoa, which helped me learn more about Islam and patience, right? And manners, which I'm getting there. It's not easy, right? Not to be so impulsive and reactive with heat, So, I like that one. Okay, hold on. Oh, wait. Oh, yes. If people are trying to bring you down, it only means that you are above them. That one is witty. That's witty, man. I know a few two-faced people, but I know more multi-faced people. Ain't that the truth? Those who belligerently announce that they don't worry what people think of them usually worry the most. That one I found to be quite witty, because there's a Shakespearean saying, "Methinks thou doth protest too much," which is usually the loudest one complaining that they don't do something. Usually means they're doing it. I mean, I can give you so many examples of where that's been true. One content creator in particular, without me being as vulgar as him to describe to you the evidences, but he's constantly making fun of gay men, turns out, and he's super vulgar in his streams, claims to be Christian, he's clearly not. I mean, that's not for me to say, but I mean, definitely a heathen, pagan heretic. And he recently had a video resurfaced where he was talking about inserting something somewhere, let's put it that way, one of his fingers somewhere, while he did something with the other hand. And the hypocrisy was just super glaring. And he has a gay father, and yet he mocks gays, and then got mad when someone mocked his father for being gay. So the huge hypocrisy there. It's just mind-blowing. So that particular content creator, to me, he fits this archetype of what's being said here, because he constantly saying, I'm the best at this. I'm the best comedian. He has a huge, massive ego. I mean, gigantic. And he's always berating people. He's constantly saying, I'm not boasting, I swear to God. Like, he does all this stuff and you're like, something just ain't right if you gotta repeat yourself that much. And he always says, I don't give an F, what people think about me. I'm a late night comedian. Oh, you're a gamma. Like, he says all this stuff and you're like, whoa. And so little by little, you start to peel back that onion layer. You're like, something ain't right here, because if you truly were not what you say others say about you, then, it would be self-evident. But it's slowly becoming evident of the opposite of what you're saying. Very fascinating. So this one, I highlighted it because there's something about that, right? Something about it. I'm sure you have examples in your own life as well. What's more of a tragedy that some people never realize how great they are, how loved and cherished they are, or that some people go their whole lives without realizing what a complete twat they are. That one is funny because you think it's like, oh, so poetic, and at the end it's like, what a great twat you are. It is true, because some people don't know how rude they can be. But we all have that capacity in us, right? I know I can be rude sometimes. I can be very heated. Sometimes I can be way too soft. Interestingly, my husband tells me that I'm too soft with doctors. Like I get real shy around, voicing opinions about certain things. just to avoid confrontation. But with others, you know, who can't pull rank as easy, it's like, I'm not gonna just let you get away with that. So, we all can be twats sometimes, I'd argue, and we have to realize that. I mean, who can say that they're perfect all the time? My wife is like a mirror to me. Sometimes I like what I see, sometimes I don't. But I know it's the real me I'm seeing in her reflection. Harold, retired steelworker from Sheffield. That one I thought was very potent because your wife sees the real you, not the facade you put on for the public. And so that is a unique way of looking at your marriage, your significant other. And on a deeper note, in Islam you can have 4 wives, so your 4 wives are 4 mirrors. That is pretty unique. The real one, because your wife sees things, right? Because women, they're very good at like judging when it comes to very interpersonal communication. When they're around you, they really pick up on your energy, your vibe. They just like are very observant. We have to be for how we watch children. You know, it's a survival technique. So when it comes to our men, we're just, you got a lot of time to process and to look. I mean, most women, if women doesn't do that, she may be looking elsewhere. I don't know. But for the most part, I'd say a lot of women do that. So the reflection you see with how your wife treats you, she could not have the true you, but at the same time, there's an aspect of you reflected back. Any home can be a castle when the king and queen are in love. Carolyn Bailey Rae, singer from Leeds. That one is, I thought, very romantic, right? Because if you are really in love in your relationship, it's a castle, not a dungeon. It's not a prison, like the feminists would say. But the trick is maintaining that love. Because love is conditional. On those rare evenings she's not home, it's disconcerting how pointless it all feels. The little things hold no meaning anymore. Saying that, I've got the interweb thing to play with now. Anonymous from South Yorkshire. So, that's interesting because the presence of her not being there, it kind of makes him feel like the empty space. Like, what's the point, Doesn't want to be without her. But he has some distraction in the internet. I think this hints at how some people are going into this MGTOW movement where like, we're going away from women, we don't need women, they're just going to be online all day. And then those types are massively depressed. Right? Because they haven't found someone who, when they're not there, they miss them. Right? And they've been stuck maybe with a woman who they wish she was just not there. You see? It's quite interesting. I like that one because it kind of sounds like an old person, right? Because the way they talk about the internet. The only time my boyfriend listens to me intently is if I'm talking to another bloke. He's suddenly all ears. Alice, marketing officer from Beverly. That one I've been laughing because it's true. It's like, as Muslim women, we had to be very cautious at the time when we are talking to the opposite sex. But this, I think, rings true for all women, right? Like, men will be like, huh, what's going on over there? But women do that too. I think just couples in general, just like, so what's going on over here? You know what I mean? You're looking at your watch like, okay, it's been like 20 seconds. Enough already! It's so funny. You must plan to be spontaneous. The funny thing about that is, like, it's so okay. You can't, if it's a plan, it's not spontaneous. But you can plan for something to be spontaneous so that you're never surprised. Because you expect it. You expect the unexpected. Right? It's like such a playful way. Say that. You've got to ask yourself, which is easiest to obtain? Forgiveness or permission? Now that one, I think they're talking about a person. Because obviously, as Muslims, we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always going to give us the opportunity to seek forgiveness. And when it comes to permission, we will look at, is this allowed in the Sharia, right? But with some individual who you're like, okay, I need them to forgive me, it can be quite difficult depending on what you did. And permission is usually granted when it's going to be quite difficult thing. It's a little bit uneasy. So there's uneasiness in both. There's a challenge in both. There are white lies and there are gray lies, and of course there are total bastard lies too. That one I was like, oh, that's really true. Because you're like, white lie means like little, gray, you're like, like, what's going on over here? But then when there's like bastard lies, it's like, why would you lie about that? You get it? And that one reigns true. There's a fine line between trust and naivete. It's easy to confuse the two. Charlie, a chef from Oatley. That one is unique because oftentimes we think those who are too trusting are naive, and that those who are naive, they trust too much. But some people who trust are not naive, right? They just trusted you. They gave you the benefit of the doubt and you broke it. And a naive person has sort of innocence, and they don't necessarily trust you sometimes, but it could be just because they are indeed ignorant and naive and not well versed in that world or whatever it is that you're pitching to them, or whatever it is that happened in the context. So I like that one because you can look at it from so many different ways. And it's interesting that a chef said that. Somebody must have bones the souffle. Rome wasn't built in a day, but then again, I wasn't on that particular job. I like that one. Because people say that all the time. Well, Rome wasn't built in a day, so have patience. And then this one's like, well, I wasn't on that particular job. Because it gets that construction job humor, contractor humor. Oh man, it's so great. I'm almost done with this book. I got like a couple more pages to go. People don't spend enough time seriously considering and defining what they really want and why. Life is about experiences. Whatever you're striving for, ask yourself, what experience am I looking for? It helps clarify things and removes a lot of bullshit and time wasting from your life. Leo, personal trainer from Leeds. That's true. If we look at the experience, what experience are you going for? I think that can help you also find your passion. Like me, what the experience I'm going for is peace in my life. I want to experience peace, tranquility, and the ability not to be subjected to a managerial pecking. As in, somebody just harrowing in on me, complaining my every move and making me feel, obsessively compulsive and crippled with, mania. Because I try to be a perfectionist at my job, whatever it is that I do. I'm a people pleaser when it comes to being at work, But being free now to determine my own destiny, to study what I want, to read what I want, within the confines of the Sharia, obviously. But well, at least trying my best, that is, right? And purifying my intention. But being able to hold the reins of my life and not go to a 9 to 5 and not being able to tell it like it is to a manager who's being abusive, or to say the truth to someone who's being, completely belligerent, or a rude coworker, right? If someone's going to be a bit saucy, I got a little bit more freedom to handle the situation as a private citizen than an employee, which is something I find quite liberating. And I don't have an HR department nagging me to death about, well, you didn't say hi to Chef so-and-so, and, they felt really offended that you didn't say hi to them, but you said hi to so-and-so instead of them. And it's like, oh, go away. I can be more introverted. I don't have to be forced to smile, and I just get to be more free. So the experience of what experience do I want in my home? I want my baby to have peace, my daughter to have peace. I want my pets to feel they're at peace. I want stillness in my home where there's just sounds of pages being flipped or something being cooked. Stillness, peace. cutting out the, let's say in a nice way, the malarkey. That's why I'm glad I don't live around my family on my mom's side. It's too much drama, man. It's just way too much drama to be dealing with all of that mess. Because they bring chaos. They bring drama. They're always fighting. They're always arguing. And my mom has mental illness. And it would never be peace with her because she'd always be having a crisis, you know? And she'd always be bringing home her drama. And she has some friends who are ex-addicts, you know, drug addicts, and they're chaotic. And I would have to be like, get these people away from my children if she was ever to babysit. It would be non-stop anxiety, stress, and drama. Living far away, all I gotta do is call on the phone. Hey, how are you? Have a good day. Boink. You know, it's more cut off. The experience is more controllable and manageable because of distance, right? So I think about what is going to be my experience living in this place versus living in that place, or going in this occupation and instead doing something else, right? The experience, as this person notes, is very important because you can clarify things and get rid of certain time wasters, right? Being very introspective is quite true. Let me know what you think. By the way, if you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilahanArchive. Post a lot of interesting things on there. I think you'll enjoy it, and it supports the channel because I'm not monetized or have the thanks button and all that jazz. So, if you want to help out the channel and learn something, head on over there. Do it.